Unfinished project 777. What's going on? Because you're watching and no one else is, you get a sneak peek. You're unfinished. Valve body. With Coke goodies and oh yeah. Nobody else gets to see because they were here first. So you're lucky. See, I'm looking out for you, bud. Setting up the pool. Nice. Pools are nice, but they're a lot of work. They're maintenance. Yes, it come out really clean. It came out really clean. I sanded the upper and the lower valve body and got everything nice, flat, and true. And yeah, it turned out really nice. Yeah, that's the power of pine saw, baby. Boil it in pine saw. Oh, hear the spray rig go by with the big tall tires and the hydraulic motors? That's what you're hearing. Walmart pool. Still pool. Okay, I got to keep an eye. I've got my little watering tractor out doing its job, and I'm almost to the end of the front yard, and I got to go take it over to the side yard. So, and you guys are going to come with me. I know. That is some schmoo on my face. Nice. I had a broken sway bar end link on the passenger side of Black Betty, and they were brand new just before No Name, and yeah, the bolt in the top of it, I thought it just come loose and come out. No, it broke off. So yeah. And I don't know where the receipt is. So, you know, I just bought another one. If I find the receipt, cool. I'm going to take the other one back. But, yeah. And I thought that's why you bought Moog, was for the problem solvers. Moog used to be a lot better. At least it got warranty, though, right? Yeah, it used to be. Yeah, everything's cheaped out. It's still better than other stuff. An old mechanic friend of mine would tell you, I'll be more than happy to do a front end rebuild on your vehicle, but I install Moog. If it ain't Moog, I ain't putting it on, because it's a waste of time. Good point. Good point. Because all they see is waste, waste. Oh, we can make it so much cheaper. Yeah, but you made it better. Like the whole front end of Shop Truck, all Moog, all the way. Paid the long dollar, and I bought the Moog. Yeah. Some people get it, though. Like the guy that owns Henry, the rifle company. They said flat out, either it's made in America or not at all. I like that. First, I was running a little tractor. It's got low gear, neutral, and high gear. And I had it in low gear because I mowed Sunday and my lawn already started to crisp up. Or yeah, Sunday I mowed and my lawn was always starting to crisp up. So quick through the it's goom. Cincinnati spelled backwards is I-tan Nick. Race car spelled backwards is race car. America covers two continents. Should be hard to do. So yeah, I had to put the thing in high gear, the sprinkler. It still moves slow, but it does a good job watering. Buff, welcome. It's probably Buff and Kim, or Buff. It's one of three. So my lady's got me Ma LV. I'm from Southwest Michigan. Hey, Buff. Connor, what's going on, my guy? Good to see you. I have been very busy this past week. I got my valve body built. Dan, come on. You need to be, come on. Every job has a start time. Come on, bud. Do we need to have a talk? How much is car insurance and any other yearly tax, if there is one? Well, my car insurance is insane here in the state of Michigan because it's no fault insurance. We are 50th in the nation for car insurance, I think. I think we pay the worst rates. And I mean, like PLPD on on my '07 Ram is like $1,100 a year, and that's just basic insurance. And my motorcycle's a lot cheaper though. My motorcycle's like $241. I'm going to renew it end of the month, and it's like $241. So that isn't so bad. And I ride the crap out of my motorcycle. Oh yeah, that's on the docket. Motorcycle tire needs to get changed. I got the tire. Now the valve body's built. I'm working on Lady Dougster's motorcycle also. And then I got to put a front tire on mine. Lady Dougster's bike needs the tank sealed. Well, we'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, so I'm working on Lady Dougster's motorcycle and mine next. Oh, our dirt daubers made a nest. Yeah, dirt daubers. Those things are just great. It's not a lot. It's decent comparing to Romania. You pay around 2,000 here. Oh, Romania. Wow. Well, never had anyone from Romania. Welcome. Should be called outsurance, not insurance. Threads are all kinds of gacked up. So barely goes over 1,000. Yeah, it is. Depending on what, it all depends on your driving record, and it all depends on your driving record, really, because it gets worse, way worse. I mean, I know kids, like, for instance, one of my coworkers, he's 21, 22. He's 21 or 22. He has two cars. He has two Grand Prix. One's a V6 Grand Prix. The other one's an LS powered Grand Prix. And he's paying like $365 a month to insure those cars. Yeah, that's insane. I try to pay my car insurance. I pay my car insurance every 6 months. I pay my bike insurance yearly. I don't do the payments. I just get it in, pay this much, boom, done. It's great. Yeah, get away from monthly payments. You'll save. The first time to save up for it's the worst one. Oh, we're across the driveway. All right, we're moving outside. Yes, I know. We're on the move. It's okay. I got you. I won't drop you. I dropped that, though. Happy it didn't hit my water glass. All right, we're moving outside. And I'm flipping you around. Through the foyer, out. And there's my little tractor. And we're going to be taking her across the lawn. So talk amongst yourselves. I'll be a minute. Fascinating, I know. That's right, high voltage rock and roll. Yeah, they just come through over the winter, and they put these new power poles in. Actually, this thing on the left of your screen is the new addition. So they put that in first, and then that. Hooba! And yeah, they went from wooden poles to these things. I'll bet you these things will last 75 years. What it is, Max, is we've got a thing called the MCCA. It's a Michigan Catastrophic, MCCF, Michigan Catastrophic Claims Fund. And then, so that's why our insurance is so expensive, is because we pay into this fund that is used to pay out lawsuits. And, you know, there's people who can get into an accident in Michigan with no fault insurance and basically get paid for the rest of their life because of how no fault insurance works. It's kind of crazy. Instead of getting a settlement, you'll just be taken care of. And we pay for that out of our insurance. That's why we're so terrible. All right, this is about as interesting as watching paint dry. So let's go back in the house. Now the little yellow thing in the foreground that I put in the ground, that there is its stop. There's a valve in its belly, and she'll follow the hose all the way up, and she'll drive right up over the ramp and turn herself off. Pretty cool little unit. And you just stick a cam in the tractor sprinkler. Yeah. Actually, the coolest thing is my father has one. That's how I knew of it. And Dad or I, one of the two, probably me, ran over and lunched the little stopper do thing. And so we just ran it anyway. Main Street, what's going on? So we just run it anyway and just keep an eye on it. Well, there were times when I'd forget about it and set it up. Brother, cousin Mike, what's going on? I'd set it up on a big long run on purpose, so it just water for a long time. Well, it gets, my parents have this really skookum garden hose, and it would get so much garden hose behind it that it didn't have enough weight anymore to haul it. And it was really cool because the tires on it are really spiky like aerators, and you can actually see where it was digging in the ground, and you know it was wheels up like it was actually in the tractor pull. So believe it or not, that thing actually does have some torque to it. Big fan of the channel from England. Can you shout me and my cousin out? His name is Mike. From England. Nice. An English YouTuber that I really like is Lord Muck. I think he's cool. He comes to the States a lot. Yeah, I was really surprised how skookum that little tractor is. Haven't we all, Mike? I mean, I've thought about it before. Yeah, you could be Magic Mike in that last name. Lawsuits for false advertisement. That's right. That's right, Ma. Smash it. Crush it. Do it. Gotta keep an eye on my tractor. I know it's moving at such a high rate. Hey, I got it in high gear. I actually have to take one of my dog's balls. You can do it! I've actually had to take one of my dog's balls and set it next to the tractor to make sure that it was moving, because when I first got it, the vanes were swapped the wrong way, and it was backing up everywhere, and I didn't realize it until I set the ball next to it, and I didn't realize it until it backed itself up so far that it pinched the hose off. And I'm like, oh no, it's in reverse, and I flipped the vanes the other way, and forward we went. So besides working on, oh, she doesn't care. She's all about the ball. She's got multiple. It's got to be a blue ball. It has to be a blue ball. And then out of all the blue balls, there is the ball. And she'll be, even though she'll have 4 other blue balls, exact same blue ball, she'll get mad. She'll be upset if I'm from Southwest Michigan, Pop. It would have been funnier if your dog was a male. No, she's a female. She's my little girl. So we were gonna buy another. I left the fuel petcock in Lady Dougster's Triumph 900 Thunderbird motorcycle tank, and to clean out the rust. And then this got all gooped up with schmoo. I thought it was going to wreck the aluminum, but actually it's okay. And so I cleaned it out today, and I had to pull it all apart. And ever do that one thing where you find a little schmoo glob and you punch through it and you're like, oh, that is exactly it. That's what happened. Got all the schmoo, and I can blow through it now. So there's the petcock for Lady Dougster's Triumph. You've seen it in the background. As a matter of fact, I'll show it to you. How about that? How about that? Well, you got caught with a flat. Well, how about that? What is that from? What's a petcock? A petcock is a fuel valve on a motorcycle. That is responsible for putting gas to your carburetor, from your tank to your carburetor. Danster says it best. It's true, though. I have been talking about blue balls and petcocks. That's right. So the Burgundy bike is a 95 or a 96 Triumph Thunderbird 900 triple. It's a nice bike. The coating, turn you back here because we're on the edge of the Wi-Fi. We don't want to anger the Wi-Fi gods. Oh, for the record, Bud the Spud is on my toolbox right there. So Bud the Spud is watching. And so the coating that Triumph put in the tank originally, like, rotted off years ago. And that tank has been a rusty mess on the inside, and it's been giving us problems. So I finally am setting off to, I'm going to coat it with POR 15 products. And we just got this in. I got the metal prep, POR 15 metal prep. And this is going to take off the light rust scale, and it's going to etch the tank. And then I've got the tank sealer already. I got a quart of the tank sealer. Grease Spot, what's happening? I'm sorry, but why does your camera just make you look wide? That's because I'm a wide kind of guy. I am a hefty homie. So, watch that metal prep. Okay, I figured. I got gloves and the whole shebang. But yeah, going to get the tank sparkling clean. Going to hit it with the metal prep, and then I've got a hair dryer that I'm going to get it spotlessly dry, and then like overnight. When you put the petcock back in the Thunderbird, after I get the tank clean and sealed up. And then I want to change the coolant in the motorcycle because we've had it a long time and we've never changed the coolant in it. And then I want to change all the fluids out. So all brake lines and I think it's got a cable clutch. Why does the tank need to be cleaned first? Because the original rust-proof coating that Triumph put in the tank back in the day completely fell off, and the inside of my tank is really rusty. And all that rust scale, and I'm serious, rust scale, it looks like the bottom of the Titanic inside that tank when it's left to its own devices. So we're finally going to coat it. So I got to get all the rust out of it. And then I got to hit it. What little rust there will be, this is going to eliminate, and it's going to etch the inside of the tank. So it'll have a surface, a rough surface, that tank sealer that I bought. I'll grab it. Give me a second. I'll grab it. Shake it with a wet rock, with rocks inside. The shake it with rocks inside is an idea. but I would highly recommend something that is metal, like nuts and bolts. Instead of, I used little glass beads, and the problem is that I played hell getting them out, and they're not magnetic, so it wasn't like I could use my magnet tool. So if I was to run stuff on the inside of a tank to scratch it all out, use something that you can fish out with your magnet tool. That's a tip from the Dougster. Be right back. And here's the second thing. Fuel tank sealer. What I really wanted was Damon Products Red Coat. And it looks like strawberry jam. And that stuff actually held up to the ethanol and stuff. But apparently they're telling me that this is just as good as that. This replaced that, they say. So... stainless would be expensive, but stainless is forever. I'm okay in my own right, Pop. I'm all right in my own right. But yeah, I want to get the tank super clean, hit it with the metal etch, and then get it bone dry. Like really dry, drier than the Sahara. And then hit it with this. And that ought to help us, because this bike is just awesome. It runs great, it's fast, and it's fun and nimble. And it's like 70 horsepower. But this has been holding us up because it's always just loading up the carbs with rusty schmoo. And it's gotten to the point where it's such a pain in the butt, Lady Dougster doesn't want to ride anymore. So I was really surprised because we were working on her 73 Super Beetle, and we need to do brakes on that thing. At least put some wheel cylinders in it. So I need to get a special tool. So I said, I need this special tool that's only $100 on Amazon. And she's like, well, wouldn't it take less work to get the Triumph up and going? Yeah, I guess it would. She goes, why don't we get that up and going first? It'd be cheaper and easier. Okay, sure. So I'm switching gears. Am I in a bike club? No, I'm not in a bike club. I just enjoy riding. I really enjoy riding. No, it's one of the things that I do as a pastime is ride my motorcycle. Check to make sure the gas is all out. Oh yeah, this tank is already, well, here's the petcock to it grease spot. So can't be any fuel in it. But I know exactly what you mean. With a match, make sure the gas is out. No. I just put a new midship tank in my truck several years ago and got from LMC. The metal is quite thinner than the old Ford tank it replaced. Of course, Ford made shit skookum back then. Yeah, they run the old midship tank. My friend's 71. Yeah, it's a 71 F250 camper special two-wheel drive, 360 with a Dana and a 410. That's got an auxiliary fuel tank, and he's had the truck probably almost 10 years now, and he's never used the auxiliary tank. He's never looked at it. He's never nothing. It's just there. I'm like, aren't you kind of curious? He goes, no, I know you want to mess with it. I'd at least trade the fuel out of it. Everything is now about weight savings and making it as cheap as possible. Yes. Guy the internet attached a large hose to the exhaust pipe of his truck and then route it to the gas tank so he could weld on it. Exhaust is a shielding gas. Okay. So you can weld and asphyxiate yourself at the same time? Okay. I got a shop class story for you guys. So, my friend's in shop class, and he actually was the guy in shop class that actually worked in shop class. He wasn't the guy that just went and hung out with his buddies for an hour. He actually would bring something in to work on, used his shop class time to work on projects, and he was actually making money using the shop and for a grade also. So he was doing work for our teachers and all sorts of stuff. So he's welding up something, and the welding hood in our old high school, you got up on the welding table and you could climb up inside the welding hood and you could climb up, and there was a shelf. It kind of stair stepped. Then there was a big shelf where the air makeup unit was. You turn that on and kids would climb up in there to smoke. And so my friend, he's like 3.5 years older than me. He's in there at the welding table. Well, if you're up in there and you look down, you have a great view of the welding table, of course. So the guys are throwing cigarette butts at him and whatever else they can find up there, because they're not the first kids to go up there to smoke. And so my friend, he's welding, and then, you know, you've got the reflection. He can see what those guys are doing. And in the reflection up there, they're all like, anyways, so he just pretends like he doesn't know what they're doing. And he goes back out and he grabs out of the scrap dumpster some galvanized steel, and he grabs some high hydrogen rod, and he went back in there and started lighting that stuff up. Those dudes came out of that welding hood right now, hacking and gagging, and they wanted to kick his butt. And he's like, I didn't even know that. The instructor goes, what's going on? And he goes, my friend goes, I didn't even know they were up there. I'm just welding. I'm just doing what I was supposed to do. Pretty smart for a high school kid to know that, right? It's because this particular individual, as soon as he could hold a wrench, he was swinging it for his dad. Made a paper towel rack in my parents' house in the wood shop. I made galvanized is no joke. In shop class in junior high, I made a broom rack, and it was of wood, and it was tombstone shaped, and it had a front plate on it. Well, inside there was just two slats of wood, like a triangle of wood underneath, and two round circles. So you could, if you put your broom in right, you kick the little wheel up, and then you'd slide it in the slot, and the wheel would hold your broom. And my mom ran a hair salon, and my mom used that particular broom rack for years. And I don't know what happened to it, but yeah, she used it for years and years. I was still in high school, and my mom was using it still. And then when I was in high school, I took welding class at the tech school, because our high school ended all its technical programs at the high school, and everything went to the tech school for our county. And when I was there, I first started off in welding. I was gas welding, and I just one day just playing welding, just playing around with stuff, because we all build all sorts of stupid stuff out of scrap. Well, I made this little guy out of cement nails, square nails. And he's a little guy, and arms like this, and standing up, of course. And I welded him to a little plate. Then I took some welding rod, and I made it look like he had a balloon in his hands. And he was crude, but whatever. So I come home from school, I walk in the door, I've got it in my hands. And when you walk into my mom's house, you walk into the salon. So there's mom doing someone's hair, and I'm like, here, mom, I got this for you. And gave her that statue. If you go to my mom's dresser, that statue's still there, almost 30 years later. I also gave my mom a beautiful Aladdin kerosene lamp that's like iridescent pink, and it's big, beautiful. It's got a hand-painted globe on it, and it's got the big hourglass-looking stovepipe inside, and it takes the mantles that illuminate like mantles like a Coleman lantern would have, except it sits like a teepee over the flame. And that sits on my mom's dresser too. It's probably one of the most beautiful things I ever found too. I'm like, you like that, Mom? Yeah. It's yours. Yeah, galvanized is no joke. All right. That's exactly what I thought. My mom still has the black walnut heart-shaped jewelry box, cutting board, and cutting jewelry box and cutting board I made in '85. That's awesome. They used to hand out half pints of milk to those who welded galvanized to create mucus to help spit out that junk. Better than milk. Milk is good. Milk is good. Yogurt is better. That's what all the old guys would do. As a matter of fact, in my friend's welding shop, if you go there now and open the fridge door, there's beer and there's yogurt and milk. Yeah, they keep yogurt around for the same reason. My mom's dad was a great woodworker. He built end table and he built a violin case that looked store-bought. The side of the family is where I get my mechanical powers. Exactly. On my dad's side of the family is where I get my mechanical side. But on my mom's side of the family is where I get the thinker. So I think I got the best. And to be fair, my mom's side of the family is a very technical bunch anyway. So yeah. Fox Dude, hey. How's it going? Yeah, well, I've seen some of these really nice air filter type jobs that you can set up so to get all that, and it's got the big elephant trunk on it that you can put right by your project, so it'll suck up the fumes right as you're working, and then it filters it so it actually keeps all that crap inside the unit instead of in your shop. That'd be awesome, instead of just opening the door. The only philosopher. Philosophical. Why is there air? What are some of the other funny things that happened? I told you about the chassis dyno in our high school. Oh, one of the kids and Power, when we still had small engine, that was the last program to leave our school, was small engine. Everything else was sourced out, but they remove your lenses. Now I can't see anything. There. And one of the kids brought it was an air and snow blower in, and somehow, some way, the snow blower was running, and it grounded out to the metal table, and it was, nobody could turn it off, and nobody could go up to it because it was energized. It'd zap you if you got anywhere near the table, and that was interesting. The instructor ended up being the guy to turn it off, of course. Yes, I may look handsome without my glasses, but then I turn into Mr. Magoo. And so I'm barely not Mr. Magoo right now. So yeah, I need my glasses. Otherwise I'll be like, that's the only drawback, is poor eyesight. Welcome, Dean. All right. So it's been 41 minutes. So who wants to see a valve body? Anyone? Anyone? Since last week, I got the upper and lower halves sanded, flat sanded, so they were completely flat. Did that on a sheet of glass with sheet sandpaper glued to the glass, so it ensured it was completely flat, and that was no fun. And polished valve body, I didn't polish it, but it's, well, I mean, on the surfaces, not like bling, but just getting because the upper and the lower bolted together, they were kind of cupped like this, so I got them back to flat. Dr. G wants to see it. Of course he does, because he's like, this is where I'm going. The sanding part is not fun, Dr. G, but it can be done. You want to see the valve body? Well, here it is. No, oh wait, that's a petcock for a Triumph. Oh, sorry. Ooh, valve body. Ooh, all nice and clean. This little doohickey right here, that is an add-on. I didn't have it because it was how old my valve body is. This is a part throttle kickdown module, so I upgraded. Plus, it's got the Cope shift kit in it, and all see the red spring, CRT spring, and I got this adjusted just the way you're supposed to have it, adjusted all the way flush. So the adjuster thing touches the case or the bracket. And then I ended up goofing up, and here, this is where the detent goes to hold the rooster comb. So it actually holds the gears you shift. And I actually, the spring decided to take a trip across the shop, and I haven't been able to find it yet. I might be getting one from Cope. No hush kit on this 727. That's right. Yeah. So, yep, she's all nice and clean. And in the past, I would boil carburetors in a soup pot, a cheap soup pot from the dollar store. And I would keep the lid on it. It would keep the smell down in the house. It just smells like pine sol. It doesn't smell like anything else. But this one, I couldn't do that. So I was actually leaving the parts hanging out in this open pot. And it actually got so bad that Lady Dougster actually said, yeah, you've got Coleman stoves. Boil that outside on a Coleman stove. And I actually kind of agreed with her, because it was days later and the house still smelled like pine sol. So yeah, I've got the valve body built, and I'm still draining. Get this. So I took my used torque converter and I tipped it upside down because I didn't think it had a drain plug. I should go in the garage and look at my Cope shift kit again, as I don't remember if it has seals for the exterior holes. I need to order that lopping. Exterior holes. I don't understand the seal for the external holes, Dr. G. Yeah, that locking dipstick. Yes, Unfinished Project did see it before anyone else, because he was the first guy here, and I knew no one was going to show up for a minute. So I quick showed him. I told him he was special. He was. He got a preview. So see, Danster, see the things that you could see if you're on time? But yeah, that actually come out really super clean. Very happy with the overall. Putting it together, a couple things kind of sucked, but for the most part, it was Justin, welcome. UP is special. I'm special. Because I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I wear a bicycle helmet everywhere? That kind of special. Yeah. Mine would be a lion's helmet because the lions are cool. A couple towns over from us, there's a famous guy who was a little slow, but a great person. But he was Max Wedge, Dick Dastardly. Welcome. He was a little slow, but he was a great person. And his name also was Doug. And it was like, he's probably 70 now. And he's like 10. That's his mentality. But he's such a nice person. And he has a book that he carries with him. And he has pretty girls sign his book. He doesn't have a girlfriend. But if you're a pretty girl, you got to sign his book. And I've been seeing that. I've seen that book being signed probably 100 times over the years. We got out of school 15 minutes early. Wow. Mike is my special friend. Where the kick down and dipstick penetrates the case. The dipstick came with a new seal. My shift kit didn't come with any seals, though. I got the 2 blocker rods and some springs. It's basically what I get. You got to pull the accumulator out, and then in the cup of the accumulator, you got to put the blocker rod in, and then put the accumulator back in, so the accumulator can't go up anymore. And then one of the other parts of the valve body, you're going to have to put another blocker rod in. It actually went like, just take your time and follow Cope's instructions, and you'll be fine. Oh, and you have to grind down the TV valve to 930 seconds. So it's a little longer, and you got to shorten it down to 930 seconds. I ended up going and using a bench grinder, and I had a 930 seconds drill bit, and I'm like, School short buses are awesome with straight pipes. Towing burnouts, I've seen that done many times. Many times. In Michigan, when the gas crunch was happening, they changed the speed limit on the expressway from 75 to 55, and it wasn't law yet. And my friend would always drive 75 on the highway, and he's got a really built. He loved Pontiacs, and he had 2 Firebirds. He had an orange 68 or orange 67 and a blue 68. They both were stout, but the orange one was faster. And he had the orange car, and he had a 2-place snowmobile trailer on it that had a tilt bed. and he's going up the expressway, and this guy is doing 55, and he's blocking my friend Cliff from being able to pass, and he keeps going out the window and going 55, 55, 55, and my buddy Cliff is like, "Bud, you're not telling me how to live." And finally, when he had the chance, he faked him out, and he punched the car and took off like a streak of crap. And he whips way out in front of him, passes him like he shut the car off, and then the pin had worked its way out of the tilt bed, and then the thing flipped up like a big parachute behind the Firebird. And nobody got hurt, and all he had to do was quick shut it down, pull off to the side of the road, and put the pin back in it, and back down the road he was going. He showed them, huh? It was still 55 and you started driving. Incorrectly load your trailer so you have negative tongue weight, and it helps with burnouts. But seriously, don't do it. Yeah, I don't like negative tongue weight for the sole fact that you start to get that sway going down the highway. I absolutely hate it. So I always now take a step back and look at my trailer, see how level I am. So try to adjust the load as much as you can. If you're like this going down the highway, that's wrong. If you're like that going down the highway, God help you. I've seen both. Down US 40 when the hood flew up and then off. It ended up undamaged except for the tore hood hinge bolts. Wow. Wow. What did it do to the windshield? Did the windshield live? Did the roof live? Because I got a story for you. So my uncle has a 56 Dodge Royal Lancer. He's had it since I was a little kid. And he painted it. He had it painted salmon, black, and white. So basically, it's like it's a chunk of salmon on some rice with a little soy sauce on top. It's such a beautiful car. So the first time it got all dudded up, the apprentice at the body shop, Steve, was still working on the Royal Lancer, and he had the car together, but he hadn't put the hood latch on yet. And so my uncle comes over with his buds to see the Dodge, and he turns to Rick, the owner, and he goes, "Can we take her for a rip?" And Rick goes, "Sure, take her for a rip, bud." Tosses him the keys, and they jump in the car and they go out of town. Well, this has got a 241 Hemi in it, and or 240 Hemi, and they get just to the outside of town, and one of the guys says, "Well, let's see what this thing can do." And my uncle puts the throttle to the wood, it hits passing gear, and the hood flies up and slaps the windshield. It broke the windshield. It collapsed the hood against the windshield. It buckled the top of the windshield. And so, yeah, on his maiden voyage, his pretty car got all sorts of goofed up. Yeah. So right back to the body shop it went. And then they figured out that it didn't have. And then Steve's like, "I never said it was ready to go. I never said it was ready to go." Dang it. He still talks about that today. I jumped out my buddy Kurt's orange crate and said I could go for a rip. Headed downhill and discovered no brakes. Oh! Okay, unfinished. Yeah, bummer. But Patrick, today you see that car, you never know. It's right as rain. The thing is gorgeous. It was a beautiful car before, and now it's gorgeous. It's sitting on wire wheels, all polished up, and that car is so wonderful. yeah. That is one of the cars that made me a Mopar guy, is because my dad and mom we used to do theme nights at our church, and they do like beach in the middle of February. They do a beach night, and they'd actually bring sand into the hall, and then they'd have a beach. And then everyone wore summer clothes, ladies in bathing suits and guys in shorts and sandals and tank tops and shades and, beach party. So the themed show or the themed party was 50s night. And my dad asked my uncle if he could borrow the Lancer. And he said, of course. So mom and dad went out, and mom wore a poodle skirt and dad slicked his hair back and stuff. And they took the Lancer. Well, afterwards, my dad's like, when do you want me to bring the Lancer back? He goes, whenever. That's fine. It's safe at your house, right? Oh, yeah, it's safe. He goes, sure, fine. We'll just leave it there. So it was parked at the end of our driveway for like half a summer. And, getting up every day. Actually, no, I was still in school. Getting up every day, walking down our driveway and looking at that beauty, that Virgil Exner beauty. And that's when I really started to like Chryslers. And then my step grandpa was a Chrysler man, hardcore Chrysler man. And my uncle too is a hardcore Chrysler guy, the one that owns the Royal Lancer, obviously. He also has a what's the coupe? It's a 49 Plymouth Cranbrook. That's a nice car. It's like a paper bag tan with a chocolate brown roof, and I think it has a brown interior, but it looks nice on the car. Summer school. The only time we ever had summer school was not that summer school. They called it the extended school year, and it was just fun classes. It's all it was. And it is actually tied into my driver's ed, believe it or not. So I had a day of school, but it was like I had a extended school year class, which was a fun class. And then I had some driver's ed work, and then I have another fun class. And we did like stock market with a real actual like buy and sell and running around and making deals, and the market was changing. It was actually pretty cool. But yeah, that was the only summer school that I ever did. I wasn't the best student, only because I was bored. School didn't interest me. If you interested me, oh yeah, I'll excel. History, always good in history. You said the car wash was in your driveway, but for half a summer you were going to school that equals summer school. No, I misspoke, Max. Boy, I didn't realize he was a lawyer. Did you or did you not say in a court of law? No, I thought it was summer, but no, it was I was still in school. So it had to be in the fall. So probably before the snow flew, the car went away. So it was probably maybe truth or dare. Let's let the audience decide. Truth or dare? Let the audience decide. What do you guys think? Truth or dare? First Mopar I really started to like was the neighbor's 69 Sport Satellite, medium metallic green with a white vinyl top, white interior with buckets and a console, and a shower head shifter. Yup, my dad always drove a Dodge. He had a few cool cars when I was younger, a 69 440 4-speed GTX, yes, and a 70 Plymouth Cuda 444 speed. I have the brain of a lawyer. I just hated school. I understand. I didn't really care for school either. If you let me do my thing, oh yeah. The other car that made me a Mopar guy was my dad was friends with a bunch of brothers. This big family. They had like 4 brothers, I want to say, And then two of them, he hung out with all of them, but two of them specifically, Bob and Larry. And Bob has had, I'm serious, 20 Roadrunners. And I can vouch for half of them. I've seen them. Bob's had he's had Tri-5 Chevys, he's had 30-something Fords and 30-something Chevys, and he always bounces between a street rod and a Roadrunner. A street rod or a Roadrunner. He has one or the other. Never both at the same time. And Larry, and Bob painted cars too. So Larry, at the time, he had a 67 Satellite in black on black with Krager's on it, and it was a summer day, and Larry and Val stopped in to see Dad, and here he come. I'm doing yard work, and here comes Larry in this beautiful black slicked up Satellite with a 440 in it, and it took me a minute to take my eyes off the car and actually pay attention to Larry. Oh no, Dad's not here. Nice car, Larry. Oh, it's a Satellite. It's got a 440 in it, and it's okay. Things sounded bad to the bone. So between that and between those two cars, that's what made me a Mopar guy. Chrysler Imperial is a nice car. Votech, that's exactly what the skill center was that I went to, was the our county vocational center, Votech. I was just in auto shop a lot. Yeah. One of the old shop teachers, we'll call him Mr. B. Mr. B, he always was a technical person, always doing the shops. And well, they were eliminating all of that stuff. So, but old Mr. B had been there forever. And so with, 20 or almost 30 years in, you don't just show him the door. So they said, "You're going to teach math." And he goes, "Really?" "Yeah." He goes, "Okay." He became a math teacher. And there was one particular guy, because they were still kind of an auto shop, but there wasn't an auto shop. And one guy, he was the guy that just wasn't a good student, in some things. And the Mr. B would actually be like, "Hey, so-and-so, you can go ahead and go down and take care of that." And he was having them like turn brake drums and stuff like that, and for a math grade. Oh yeah. Auto shop was gone in the 70s. Auto shop was still alive. When I was a freshman, you could take freshman and sophomore, you still had our own auto shop. And then, but all that was getting taken over by the vocational center. Man, our vocational center was strict. They took everything to an extreme. I did not care for how they ran the school. When I left Pontiac, had just given a new Firebird to the shop to learn on. It had no VIN. Computers were fairly new in 1984. Yes, it had no VIN. I never thought to look, because our auto shop was given a 88 GMC, and it was burgundy. It's burgundy. I think the school system still has it. It was burgundy with a silver center, extended cab, short box, 4-wheel drive, cloth interior, loaded, power windows, power locks, air conditioning. And I never remember it running. It was just parked in the corner collecting dust. And I'll bet you that a million pairs of buns have been behind that driver's seat, in that driver's seat, and that door needs pins. That driver's door needs pins. I'll guarantee you that. How many times it was opened and shut? I used to sit in it when I was in there. Went to auto shop. They had a beautiful 64 Galaxy 500 XL, black with red bucket seats and a floor shift automatic. It was to lean on. Yeah. That is a nice car. But couldn't get it back together. I met a lady running the counter. The O'Reilly's restoring her dad's 70 Challenger. 70 Charger. Wow. Cool car. So nice when you actually, gearhead ladies are awesome, especially someone tackling a huge project like that. Good for her. '70 Charger, nice car. Hopefully she's got a decent car to work with and not just a VinTag. AMD did a car. They called it Project VinTag because that was the only thing that wasn't rusty on the car. And they used all AMD sheet metal and put it all back together. Just to prove you can do it. No, it sucks though, is AMD, year one, all those sheet metal manufacturers, you know what they ended up doing was they bought pristine cars, stuff that shouldn't have been dismantled, and dismantled them, cut them apart, then reverse engineered off of them to make their dies and everything. I want to know how many good cars got killed so they could make their dies and molds and everything. Dad had a 64 Galaxy 500 4-door hardtop vintage burgundy when I was born. 352 and Cruise-O-Matic. It was a Swiss cheese special. But she got the 440s running. Good deal. My dad, his first car was a 64 Galaxy 500 2-door aquamarine blue 390 4-speed car with a bench seat. And his girlfriend overheated. He drove that thing till after he was out of school. And he was working at a plating company, and his girlfriend dropped him off to work and used his car, and then somehow overheated it and locked it up. And my dad bought a Mustang. 69 Mustang, Mach 1, 351 Windsor, 4-speed, cherry red Boraxo, black Boraxo hood, textured hood. I went upscale route and 160 Mercury Monterey's. One of them had the S55 model. You don't see a lot of those around here. Dad always would say, I asked him, I go, of all the old cars you had, what do you want the most? And I said, probably the Mustang, right? When I was a kid. And he goes, Mustang was fun. Mustang was good. I liked the Mustang. But if I could have any car back, it'd be my Galaxy. My dad was drag racing his Galaxy at Martin Dragway, and he missed a shift, and he broke a shift fork, and he bent. I think he bent all of the exhaust rods in it when he over revved it, and that was how he met my dad's. That's how Cliff and my dad met. Was he goes, well, you know who could help you with that would be Cliff, and then they became friends, and then me and his son became friends. I used to hang out at Cliff's place a lot. I learned so much from him. So much. He taught me how to make gaskets. That was one of the first things he ever did with a hammer. Because he was an excavator, so he had all sorts of equipment around, and just doing all that stuff. He has his son has it. It says, had a big plate on it, and it said property of United States Air Force, and it looks like a generator, but it's not a generator. It's just a jump starter, and you're only supposed to run it for Cliff would always say you run it for a cigarette. So have a smoke. When your smoke's done, so's that. And so it's February, and his bulldozer is parked for the winter in the drop lot. And he goes, because of what we're doing, we got to move the dozer. And it's like -4 that night. And he goes, it's supposed to be 15 above tomorrow. He's like, we're going to go out and we're going to light her up. And I'm thinking, man, what an act of Congress this is going to be. That thing's got 10 gallons of frozen oil in it. This is not going to be fun. It'll take all day. And so he drags out that starter box and lights it up, and it had a big panel on the side of it, and it had a plug that had 3 plugs on it. So if you plugged it in here, here, and here, you got this, and so on and so forth. So there's like a dozen plugs on it, but how you plugged it in dictated what you were getting. And he plugged it in a certain way and hooked it up to that international dozer. I can't think of what it was, what model it was, but it was an international. And he goes, 1 cig. We stood around and shot the breeze while that thing was running at full bore. And I am dead serious. He walked over to it, brushed the snow off the seat, unpadlocked the lockout, and opened up the controls. And he grabbed a can of ether and hit the button and gave her 3 good snorts, and she took off, yelling at us to unhook the jumper, turn it off and unhook it. And that thing spun over like it was hot batteries in July. Unbelievable. And of course, if anyone's heard a cold diesel start up, it's a clatter and mess. Oh my God. Cosby sauce for the win. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And Cliff, he'd buy the good Cosby sauce. He had certain brands that he'd want, just not any Cosby sauce would work. He wanted good Cosby sauce. And he liked to go get it from I think he was buying it by the case at one time from the John Deere dealer to get that certain, like higher purity or whatever. Who remembers diesel trucks with ether cans on them where you just hit the button and ether start it? It's got its own ether bottle on board. It looks like a little propane cylinder. Or ether pellets. Now I remember those, ether pellets. You had a tube that come up next to the dash through the floor, and then it had a little spring-loaded cap on it with a rubber seal in it. And you'd open it up, and you'd actually are making a vacuum leak. You actually hear of the engine, and it had a point inside of it, and you had a pill that was an ether pellet. And you'd take that, and you'd open up that cap and shove it in there until the pin broke it, and then you shut the lid, and that was how you added ether to the engine to start it. And you'd have them in your shirt pocket, and then you would start up your tractor. Of course, now the tractor's running, you don't need those anymore, so you grab them, you throw them up on the dash. Well, they get out of the package and they get loose, and then they go and they fall in behind the dash, and then you're driving around, and then you got the heat all chooching and everything, and then you break one of those ether pellets open, and then you can't see in the truck. You're like, holy shit, you gotta roll down the windows. Yeah, good times. I remember that. Math Cleaner makes good Cosby sauce. Really? A little nitroglycerin pill. Yeah, it was, man, over the years, I've seen some really horrible things happen with ether. And you always get those heavy-handed ether guys like Peg from Zip Ties and Bias Plies. Holy Moses. He just sprays a metric load of ether at those things. It's like, oh my God, I know guys that would want to fist fight him. What are you doing? Don't do that. And he's like, it's fine. In New Zealand, that's the Ministry of Agriculture. Fisherless, I get paid 180. Got a 100-piece high heated water blaster. Ooh, we've got a 3,100 psi power washer. Lady Dougster brought it for us last summer. It's pretty skookum. She said, "Do not wash cars with it." I don't know if it's chooching enough to hurt the car, but I'm not going to find out. Or stand way back, but I'm not even going to find out. Being my luck, I get too close and blast the paint off my car. Probationary. Yes, probationary. With Blue Wrench comes great responsibility. Not just anyone, Blue Wrenches. It's a spell check. Got a fan. Bought specifically for No Name Nationals because I knew I wanted some air movement in my little camper at No Name. So that's the whole reason why I bought it, and I like it. It's nice. I really like that little battery operated fan, but you got to have a big battery, and if you use one of the thin batteries on it, it'll tattle on that thing right now. Okay, I'm gonna go check on the sprinkler. Be right back. Hey, let's go together. Yeah, duh. Take you with me. So how far have we made it across my lawn? Yeah. Don't slam the door, Doug. We've already made it across. We're shut down. All right. I'm going to be a second. I'm going to put this all away. Are we chatting amongst ourselves? primary turbine. All right, I'll put the hose away and then we'll go back to the skip to the my darling. All right. Whipped it out with my dodgy moderator hand. Where did our host go? Our host is putting the garden hose away. Here I am. The Bool of Dougsteronomy. Yeah, I checked to see if my sprinkler was done, and it was, so I put it away. There. No, I don't have any kids. Closest thing I have to children have fur and paws. I have a cat, I have a dog, and I have 2 pet rats. So no, I don't have any kids. I need my essentials. Ooh, Auto Trader. Plum Crazy Purple Cuda 21.5. What? They do the yard work. Well, I don't mind doing the yard work. It needs to be done. My lady, she likes to mow too. And whenever she mows, she always does these really nice patterns. Like she does the diagonal lines in the yard. And then I'll notice that the neighbor to the north and the neighbor to the south will also start mowing their yard on an angle, also opposite of ours. So that's always funny. Yes, pet rats. I don't know what kind they are. They have hair. Why, you want to see them? Come on. Let's go see them. Their names are Hawkeye and Trapper John. Ooh, Dougster After Dark. Bright light. Ah! Hey, guys. The light gray one is Hawkeye, and the dark gray one is Trapper John. And Trapper John is mine. And Hawkeye is Lady Dougster's. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yep, that's our our loving nickname for them is the Stinky Bottom Boys, because if you don't stay up on their cage, they do get kind of stinky. But they're actually pretty cool. Where'd you go? Marco! Polo! Marco! Habit trail? No, not into rats or snakes. Well, my rats are pretty cool. I didn't think I was going to be into the rats, but then I realized how cool my little guy is. They both are, actually. They're actually cuddly little guys. I have a cat. His name is Miles. And I have a dog. Her name is Ruby. I should try to train those guys to do something. Oh, here, Cope. This is just for you. Everyone else got to see it, but you didn't. Oh, yeah. Ooh, CRT shift pack. Ooh, CRT springs. Ooh. It's going to hit hard in second. And the part throttle kickdown module, the upgrade. Oh, yeah. Turned out really good. I'm very pleased. Especially when I pulled it out and it had that big layer of goop all over it. Man, I didn't think all that goop was... Actually, the goop that was on it wasn't so bad. It was the goop that was in the circuits of the lower that was like, eh. That stuff was like gel. Thanks, Colt. I tried. And I will agree, the other week, John Wilburn said on his live, if you can build a carburetor, you can build a valve body. I'll agree to that. Last night I was having dreams of of valve bodies, so I think that was probably like my learning phase, because I notice I'll have a repetitious dream of stuff, and I guess that's how I learn. So yeah, all last night I had valve bodies dancing through my head. Thanks, Colt. So I gotta make another parts order. And then once I get the valve body buttoned up with the rooster comb and everything, then I should be able to put the valve body back in my 727. Now they got the blocker rod on my accumulator. And then I pulled the last 24 hours ago, I pulled the drain plug on that torque converter of mine, and it's still draining. I went and checked on it before my live, and that son of a buck is still draining. I'm not surprised, you know, especially them being a drag racer and a Mopar guy. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. God, where haven't you sent parts? Where's the strangest place that you've mailed 727 parts to? I'll bet you it's like East Bongo Squeegee. Guys want to put a shift kit in their Camel. Russia. Wow. Man, I bet shipping was outrageous. Wow, 720. Oh, that had to have been something special over there. They probably got some American car. Bongo squeegee. East bongo squeegee. Yeah, I wonder who I got that from, right, Dan? Okay, I'm gonna fill my water glass. Be right back. My curtain's gonna take over for me. Oh, I'm back. Yeah, bongo squeegee. Yeah, Uncle Tony too. Bongo squeegee. A friend of mine sold a 71. He sold a split bumper Camaro and put it on eBay. It sold on eBay. This is like 2004, 2005. He sells a Camaro on eBay going to England, and the British gentleman took care of everything. He lined up the shipper. They came, picked up the car, and then it went and sat in New York, and then it got put on the boat, and it went to England. So it took forever for it to finally get to England. And while it was in the shipping container, because they put them on a rack on an angle, all the transmission oil had run up the dipstick, pushed out the dipstick, and leaked all over the car. And then when it got there, it had 5,000 extra miles on the car, because its photographs said it had this many miles on it, and it had 5,000 more miles on it. And what they figured out was because he shipped the car, keys and all, as a running car. They drove it up onto the truck, and they took it to the New York storage lot. Those people had the keys, and they were out cruising around that Camaro for 5,000. They put 5,000 miles on it, and then finally put it in the container and put it on the boat. And yeah, my friend said, like, on a Saturday morning, he gets a call from a very unhappy British gentleman. That I don't know. And so very upset, British guy, and he misrepresented the car, and it's got more dings and dents in it because those guys didn't care about his car. So yeah, it was a learning experience. They all got it figured out, and the shipping company ended up reimbursing the gentleman, and they had to replace I think they burned up the transmission because they ran it with no fluid in it. I don't remember. But anyways, later he sold a Dart GTS 440 drag car to the Netherlands. And what he found out was, if the car is drivable, they put them in those shipping containers. If they're inoperable, they get shipped flat. So what he ended up doing was took all the fuses out of it and the keys and all his paperwork, and then mailed it to the Netherlands to the gentleman, and then the car was picked up as inoperable. So at least it got sent. It wouldn't be driven because it's inoperable, and it did shit flat. So that was their way around it. Yeah, he learned his lesson for sure. Yeah, the Dart GTS was pretty cool. It was white with a red interior, and it had I don't know the engines, but what it had for a 440 in it, but it was a big gnarly one. Like it just thundered when it ran. It probably had like a 700 or 800 lift cam in it. I don't know, but it was definitely spicy. Couldn't believe it. He's like, I sold that. You sold it. Where's it going? The Netherlands. The Netherlands. Yeah. I can only imagine what that bill would be like. One of the supervisors. What's going on? One of the supervisors had a what was that Oldsmobile? Starfire. Starfire? I think it was an old Starfire. That was a cool car. And it was like in an aquamarine blue. He'd only drive it like in August and July in Michigan. And if it was raining, the Starfire never come out. That car was nice. Hey, did you guys hear that Brian Wilson passed away? That's too bad. Ever since that tree went down, our power's been doing that. We got to call the power company and get it righted. I wonder if we don't have a big enough transformer, because it's never done this before. We had a limb go down and it knocked out the power to me, and like there's 3 houses that run on one leg between our houses, and ever since the limb went down, knocked out the power. Well, we had a guy. Okay, so I can tell you this. So we had a limb. Well, the whole tree didn't go down; just a big portion of the top of the tree fell, and it knocked out the power. My day has been pretty good. Mondays usually are a pretty chill day. Well, I went and talked to, I thought the same thing, Dan. Well, I went and talked to the neighbor to the north, because there's one in behind me and then one right next to me. The one here I talked to, and he said he hasn't noticed his power doing this. So, yeah, if you put a strain on it now, like the fridge kicks on, the lights will dim, and like the well was kicking on and off. While I was watering the lawn, you could see it in the lights. So I need to go talk to the other neighbor and see if their lights are doing it. So yeah, we need to call the power company. Something's not right. And I don't think it's here in the house, because my electrician friend come over and he took my meter and poked around in my box, and he thinks that everything in the electrical box is on the up and up. So it's not in the house. He thinks we're good from the weatherhead into the house. He thinks the problem lies on the electrical company side of things. Do I have a generator? Yes, I do have a generator, and I'm very stoked about it. It came from my lady's uncle, who's an old farmer, and he uses things, but he takes really good care of them. He had a cheap generator but he always took excellent care of it, and that thing is running in 2 pulls. Mohawk, hey, what's going on? Got to have a generator. Yeah. Well, the last time when that limb went down, oh, okay, sorry, I got all turned around. So the limb of the tree went down, which knocked out the power, and so it was right after we had a tornado warning. Our tornado had touched down further out east of me. That's right. Get yourself a cold drink, Mr. Coperino. And the limb fell down, knocked out the power, and then the fire department is there, and they're signaling people to stay away, don't drive over it, because they think that's just a limb down in the road. They want to drive through my yard to get around it. So the fire department is in front of my house, and on the north side, a guy comes up he's headed south on the road. He pulls up in a Jeep, and he stops, and he talks to the fire guys, and he wants to go around, drive through my yard to get around the fallen tree, and they're like, there's a power line down. You can't do it. The guy's also drunk, and the one guy is a pretty skookum dude who works for our fire department, and the other guy is a medium-sized dude. This guy is a little guy, and he gets out of the Jeep, and he walks over, and he comes up to here on the big guy, and he goes, not you, and he walks over, and he starts to pick a fight with the other fire guy, and then he's like, legally, we can tell you legally you cannot drive over this line. And he said, watch me. Now, it didn't knock the power out as of yet. We still had power. The power line's laying on the ground. This is what I heard all second hand afterwards. The guy gets in his Jeep, and he goes to drive across my yard, and he hits the line, and that's when it knocked the power out. This is like at 2:30 in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. And then, Ari, hey, bud. And then the guy backs up, and then he takes off. And now the fire department guys, they've got radios. They're on their radio saying it's a this color Jeep with a license plate of this and this. 5 minutes. And he was in custody and on his way to the county hotel. It was a hell of that limb that portion of the tree went down. It was a hell of a piece of wood. Yeah, see? Need to call a power company. Doing great here. I got the fuel petcock clean on Lady Dougster's Triumph today. That was full of some schmoo, so it's all working again. And it worked fine on the main pickup, but on the reserve side, it was still plugged with crap. And I ended up having to dismantle it all, take the filter out, and then probe. There's a gelatinous glob of schmoo in there, and got her all blown out and put her all back together. She's minty. She's got like 6 pieces to it. There's like a gasket, this mid plate. It says Makuni on it. No, that's not it. There we are. No, you can't hardly read it, but it says Makuni. And yeah, so got it cleaned and ready to rock. And then I'm going to recoat Lady Dougster's tank. I picked up some metal prep, POR 15 metal prep, and I'm going to do the tank up in that. part is that? Not an intake manifold. No, it's the fuel petcock for a motorcycle, Dan. The inside of that Triumph tank, the coating that originally came in it, like rotted out, and the whole inside of the tank has gotten rusty, and that's been what's holding us up riding that bike is the rust in the tank. So I filled it with some Evapo rust. It really tackled the rust. I might do another round of Evapo rust in it, and then I'm going to hit it with this metal prep that'll clean what's left of the rust, and it's going to etch it to give something for the tank sealer to seal to. So yeah, it's a two-step process. And once I use the metal prep, I got to make sure that it is bone dry, drier than the Sahara, and then I can use the tank sealer on it, and it should be good a long time. Head gasket, steel shim type. That's right. You reuse it. Delamination of other crap. Yes. Well, I think that the ethanol, when they started putting heavy concentrates of ethanol in the fuel, because I wonder if Triumph didn't use something like the old cream coat. There used to be this tank sealer called Cream Coat, and it was kind of like vanilla ice cream color, like that off-white. And the stuff would just, it was a temporary fix. You had a rusty tank, you could hit it with Cream Coat, but it didn't last, and it would start to flake off, and that stuff was even worse in your fuel than the rust was because it would clog up everything. And this stuff is supposed to be, I wanted the Damon Industries stuff, the red coat, looks like strawberry jam, but they don't offer that anymore. So, and they say that this POR 15 product directly replaced the Damon Products red coat. So I've heard guys, my friend with that red coat stuff, he actually had a gas tank on a rare motorcycle. It was rusted through. There was pinholes in it. You could look through it and see light at the bottom of it. There wasn't a lot of pinholes in it, but there was pinholes in it. And he red coated it, and it sealed all that up, and he was able to use that tank still. That made me a believer. That red coat was some bad stuff when it dries. I've had friends of mine talk about that, the red coat. Red coat's been gone since 1776. What the red coats carried is called a brown Bess. And a brown Bess is a muzzle loader. It's smooth bore, and it's 75 cal, meaning that it's a projectile that gets thrown out of that is 3/4 of an inch. Decimal 750. Yeah, that's a Buick flying at you, man. And as a matter of fact, the bore of the Brown Bess was larger than that to help with shot fouling. So if it was too clean, you had a hard time putting a ball down the bore because it was like a hot dog in a hallway. The more you shot, each time you shoot a muzzle loader, you lay a film of exhaust gases on the barrel, and actually it gets smaller and smaller with each shot. We do scenario shoots with trade guns, and those are 62 caliber smooth bore, and mine's a muzzle loader. And we shoot round ball, and yeah, we'd have like 18 shots from all sorts of neat stuff. From like you hit this metal thing that looks like something that falls over, or you've got like a cherry tomato on a golf tee, and you have to hit the cherry tomato, not the golf tee. My favorite one was putting out candles at night. We would sit at the rifle range at night with our candle lanterns out, and then we'd have our muzzle loaders, and then we would light candles and put them on posts out on range, and then the object was to take a shot and put out the candle without plastering the candle. That's how my friend Snuffy got his nickname Snuffy, because there might have been alcohol involved, and we're all playing with our rifles at the range. Well, Snuffy went back to his camp to get more beer, and then he loaded up his scatter gun and then brought that up. And then when it was his turn to shoot again, he goes up with his scatter gun and he points it down at the ground and then lights it up, and then all the dirt clods fly up and put all the candles out. Snuffy. Still call him Snuffy today. Beretta makes some nice scatter guns. Very nice scatter guns. .22s are really nice. Till your night vision comes back, this is true. Beretta makes more than just handguns, Dan. They make shotguns. Yeah, what's actually really cool is if I bring my muzzle loader, it's a flintlock. So I have the pan, you know, I have the small fire when my hammer hits my frism, and then it pushes the frism forward, and then I get the cascade of sparks in the flash pan. So it's a little weird to get used to at night. Light it up, and then it here in your peripheral you have a little thing, and then it lights off. And if you've got everything dialed in right, it'll light up as fast as a modern lead propulsion device. If it hang fires, then you've got something wrong. Figure it out. If you did everything right, pull it, off she goes. And what's even better about muzzle loaders is it's cheap. It's cheap. Yeah. That would not be a fun day. Yeah. Yeah, 3/4 inch. Yeah, pure lead too. Yeah, that's the thing is I've got my real big lead propulsion device enthusiasts, and I can't believe the amount of money they spend just to go play at the range. And I'm like, you realize that I can buy a pound of powder last time I bought a pound of powder, with the clubs that I'm part of, a lot of guys have a magazine of powder, and then they buy in quantity, and then to club members will sell at cost, no profit. And that has always been the agreement. So through the club, a pound of powder is like $22 or $23. It might have gone up since then, but it's still really cheap, and a pound will last me a long time. I can do a whole bunch of lead propulsion with a pound. And then just keep a couple flints and, shot around, wads and cards. The wads and cards, I actually use a beer case, and I have a piece of wood that I stand up and I use it as like end grain, and then I have a piece of pipe from a gasket making set that is the same size as my smoothbore, and then I use beer cases and pop cases as my card, and then I use I go to like the pick apart yards, and I'll walk through, and then I'll get handfuls of air fresheners, and then I bring those home and I punch those also with my little threaded pipe thing, and then that's my card or wad, and then when you load the lead propulsion, the muzzle loader, you put the powder at the bottom, then you put the wad on top of that, and then your shot sits on top of that, and then the card slides in on top of that, and all the card is for, so if I am holding the lead propulsion device up, if I point it straight down, it all doesn't roll out the end of it. That's the only reason. That's the only reason why the card is there. And yeah, works great, and it's cheap. And usually the pick apart yard will give me the air fresheners. And I make hundreds of them. And the bag I keep them in smells really nice. Like this whole barrage of different scents of air fresheners. So it's cheap. It's cheap fun. And you can buy more expensive stuff, but why when, you can just DIY it. QC in the Sunshine Band. Casey. Chevrolet Berettas, yes. One of my co-workers, Tim, he might be watching. Hey Tim, if you're out there. He wants to take a Beretta. He wants to make it rear-wheel drive. He wants a D-stroke small block in it, and he wants, I think, a fiberglass body for it. I forget what kind of racing he wants to do with it, but it sounds wicked. I hope he does it. It'd be cool. Never seen a rear-wheel drive Beretta. I think there might have been a rear-wheel drive Beretta used for a racing series or something. I don't know. When they first came out, my uncle had bought my youngest uncle on my mom's side, he's only like 9 years older than me, 8 years older than me. And he had a really good looking gray Beretta that he bought brand new. Yeah, it was gray. Because he traded in his big van. He had a Ford van, a black Ford van that had chrome wheels on it, and he was using, or was it the blue van? He had a couple vans because he was always in a band, so for a little while he had the van to haul band equipment. Then he bought a Beretta. NASCAR. Probably did a series of NASCAR running a rear-wheel drive Beretta. I think Tim was saying like they were set up, you could like bolt in rear-wheel drive stuff to them or something. I forget. Drag races, a blown small block Beretta. Yeah. There was a guy that had a chassis for sale, and it was everything but the driveline, and it was a neon drag car, funny car, clamshell body. It was black and white, like Mopar performance parts looking, and I forget what they wanted for it, but they were talking about that the transmission that was in it was set up with these wear plates built into it, And then, so when they would drop the hammer on it, it had a blast shield. I did remember seeing it had a blast shield in it that was like an inch thick, that encompassed where the engine was to protect the driver. It had some serious blast shield in it. But I guess the transmission was made to slip. This clutch was made to slip. As RPMs went up, they had these wear things put inside, and it would wear it all away. And as it wore it away, as it turned and spun, it would lock up more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And then I guess the throw-up bearing was moving also. It was very interesting. Front wheel drive reverse donuts don't suck. Yeah. What was really funny was we'd have kids every winter in the high school parking lot doing donuts, and then this one kid had a citation, and he was whipping donuts, and he got too close to the snowbank, and they had some big snowbanks that year, and he whacked the snowbank so hard that the front of the car picked up and was sitting on the snowbank, and he was sitting there flooring it, turning the wheels left and right and not going anywhere. They're like, help us push. And we're like, nah. They were someone we didn't like, so we took off. That's on a reform now. One guy who was a grade ahead of me, he had a big silver Buick Century, and it was the same model of car that Kojak drove in that show, except silver. Kojak's was brown. Yeah, brown. Yeah, it was one of those things where, I never watched Kojak at that time. I had never seen Kojak. And it was years and years and years later, I'm watching Kojak, and then I see the car, and I'm like, that's like so-and-so's car in high school. Yeah, he literally bought that car off of a little old lady. It was a big old battleship gray Buick Century, big old four-door. I high-centered my mom's 82 Skylark at a snow pile down the street from our house. Who loves you, baby? That's right. Telly Savalas, fun fact. Kojak fun fact. Jennifer Aniston is Telly Savalas' granddaughter. So she's Greek. Hey, what's going on, Frank? Welcome. Oh. Another guy in high school had a 75 or 76 Ford pickup. It had the crossbar in the middle of the grill, so it wasn't the like 79 style grill, and it was tomato red, and someone had done a segmented paint scheme on it. Like they followed the outline of the side of the hood, and then they outlined the little square of the cowl, and then a panel above the door, and then there was a whole nother one outlined the fender in white, and then one outlined a square of the door, and on the box it was a step side, and it had an old aluminum grandpa topper on it that had a door on it, like a regular looking aluminum screen door on it. And it had white wheels, and it had dog dish hubcaps. And then he'd drive it all year long, and then all winter it looked like that. And then he would put some chrome modulars, 8s and 10s on it, and put a little rubber rake on it. It only had a 3 on the tree and a inline 6. But man, that truck, all polished up from winter mode to summer mode, totally different truck. It looks so good with no topper on it, sitting on the 8s and 10s, and with the rubber rake happening, and then would go back to grandpa mode for the winter. That was a good looking truck. That was a freewheeling edition? Really? Okay. It was a good looking truck. Yeah, it had that segment in it. I didn't know that was a package, Dan. I just learned something. It was a two-wheel drive. Yeah. It was a good looking truck. And yeah, it's so funny. He wouldn't hardly take care of it at all winter long. And then when he put the 8s and 10s on it, he'd take the topper off, buff the old truck out. It was worlds different. Huh, good to know. I'm not up on my Fords. Yeah, it had a good look to it. That sticks in my brain because you didn't see that segmented paint scheme very often, but it looks cool. Fjords. Speaking of Fords, my friend Blair, that lucky son of a buck, he bought what is it? '02 Lincoln Town Car. And I think it's a highly optioned Premier, because I guess there's 3 flavors: Executive, Premier, and then Cartier or whatever. Well, his is a highly optioned Premier. It's like a white gold color. Parchment gold it's like a champagne-y gold color. And he got that car, when he bought it, the air suspension, the whole ass of the car was down. He bought that car for $600 and he drove it home, and all it needed was a little piece of plastic line and the whole air suspension works again. Oh, the AC compressor clutch died on the way home, but drove it home for $600. That is $147,000 on it. Nice car. No rust holes. It's got a little bubble on it, but nothing bad. Nice car. I couldn't believe it. He took me for a ride in it. Thing runs really good. French girls, they want Cartier. Italian girls want cars. The old Volvos do kind of have that squared off European look, but man, those old Volvos would run and run and run and run and run. Man, they would run. One of my favorite Volvos, and it's not a car I don't think I could ever drive because I'm just such a hefty homie. Anyways, it is a Volvo, I think it's a P1800 or a P2000. I think it's a P1800. It's P1800. Yeah, it's what Roger Moore drives in the TV show The Saint. And it's a cool little car. Yeah, the P1800s, that's a cool car. I like those. I've only seen one. And last year we went to the Mad Dogs and Englishmen car show at the Gilmore, and that was cool. I got to see one there. There was also a 383 powered Jensen Interceptor there. You know, Doug and a Jensen Interceptor. The one that looks like a 40 Ford. Yes, that is a classic theme song. Yep, Roger Moore. Million Mile P1800 in New York. Yeah, I think I've seen that one. I think it's black. Yeah, that guy. If that's the same car I'm thinking of, Danster, that was the guy. He bought the car on a Friday, and they said, when you cover like 4,500 miles, come back and we will do the break-in service, the 4,500 mile service. He bought the car on a Friday and he was back on a Monday or a Tuesday to have his break-in service done. He'd already covered 4,000 something miles in a weekend, in a few days. I guess the guy just drove and drove and drove and drove and drove. Had a P1800 which caught fire. I remember somebody's Fiat Spider catching fire once. Forget why. That was a brown car. That was like M&M brown. It's so funny. You go to the pick-apart yard and there'd be a Fiat in there, one of those old Fiat Roadsters, and man, people would just pick everything off of it. Well, granted, if there's finally one in there, I guess I would go after everything I could get too. There's more Fiats now that Fiat's back with the 500s and whatnot, but yeah. Definitely fix it again, Tony. My friend had a Saab, and they came, I guess the engines were the same, turbo and non-turbo. Just one had low compression. No, I have not seen the paint job on Hot Rod Guy Garage's Mustang. And I lost my train of thought. Oh well. That same uncle had an A100 a day. He was doing yard work outside, heard the A100 start cranking, turned and saw it chugging up the street with smoke pouring out of the doghouse. He ran to it and yanked the battery cable. Oh, I see. It was, yeah, it had engaged itself and was just, oh, okay. It's possessed. I like the old PV444, like Andrew Nelson drove. Yeah. Oh geez, some of those Volvos. Oh yes, that's what Mohawk was talking about earlier. He's talking about the Volvo that looks like the miniature 40 Ford. Yes, I know exactly the one you're talking about now. Those are cool. Oh, the Saab. You got turbocharged Saab or non-turbo Saab, but they both were the same engine. And my friend, he thought the engine was no good on his Saab because he parked it on a hill and left it in gear and it rolled down the hill regardless. He didn't hit the e-brake, and he's convinced that the engine's no good on the Saab, to the point where he finally goes and talks to a Saab mechanic, and he's like, I think there's something wrong with the engine in my car. And he like, okay. And he goes, is it doing this? No. Is it doing this? No. How about this? No. Is it doing this? No. Is it doing that? No. He goes, then it's fine. That's the way it is. And he goes, well, it did this and that. And he goes, set the e-brake. Low compression. He was like, it's fine. It's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, in the 1960s, they're pretty cool. There was I was leaving work. I was working night shift, and I'm out of work, and I got this 40 Ford behind me, and it's a young guy, and he's probably at this time he's probably in his 20s, and he's driving this old black Volvo, and it's got big Volvo mud flaps on the back of it with the Volvo arrow thing on it, and he's got a pipe in his teeth. He looks like he's straight out of 1960. And when driving that, I thought it was so cool, just smoking a regular old pipe. Yeah, complain. Yeah, have it on sport mode where it's shifting hard, and yeah, of course. Oh, wow. Colleen just sent me a picture of that Hot Rod Guy Garage's Mustang. And it's white and it's blue, and it looks like somebody went crazy with the lacing, which is cool, man. That's stuff that I just love, like boogie van paint jobs and lacing and stripes and endless lines and flames and more metal flake than a bass boat and candy colors and murals and yeah. Yeah, I love that stuff. Send it to me too. Yeah, I love that stuff. Like when Cold War Motors did the boogie van for Ashley, man, they just knocked it out of the park. The colors and the ghost flames and oh man, I was just in hog heaven. And it just turned out so good. Yeah, look up Cold War Motors boogie van. It's black and it's black. Trust me, it's sweet. An electric paint gun. I got old school paint guns. I got a DeVilbiss, and I've got I think it's an Eclipse, but it's you can tell by looking at it, it's a DeVilbiss. And I went to a free sale at this old automotive shop went under, and they just said, we're going to throw it away or you can come take it for free. On these days, the whole place is open, 2 buildings. Whatever you find, it's yours free. And we took all sorts of stuff out of there. We brought home shelves and stuff. Well, I found a paint can that goes to a siphon feed paint gun. And I'm all happy because I figured it was going to fit my DeVilbiss. And I tried to put it on the DeVilbiss. It don't fit. It was too small. So I'm like, oh well. So I made it into a change jar. It sits on my dresser full of change. So later, I went to a yard sale last summer and I bought the Eclipse paint gun. And just for hoots and hollers, I dumped all the change out and put her right on that siphon feed Eclipse. Spider, what's up, brother? Yeah. Van Street machines were so damn cool. They really were cool. And some of the ingenuity that guys would do. Like I remember one boogie van, I seen it at a concert, and all of the side door didn't slide back and forth. It was on a hinge and went straight up, so it was like a canopy. And then both the barn doors on the rear were welded together, and that was on a hinge too that went up like a canopy. And of course, it had like the bar and it had a mini bar, and it had, a disco ball, and it had a bed, and it had a cooler, and all that stuff. A guy I knew had a boogie van that he did in like 1980 or 81, and it was a 60-something Chevy van, and it was a windowless van, and he painted it like a seafoam green, and then in purple, it had no windows in it, and it had purple striping on it that said the Jolly Roger, and he had a 283 in it, and a 283 Glide in it, and it had a beautiful hardwood floor. It had a gorgeous hardwood floor in it, and then all of the knobs, everything was upholstered in like paisley, and all the knobs inside the car were actually cut glass doorknobs from old houses. It was actually pretty cool. You wanted a 283 for the Apache? Yeah. 283 would be all right. my friend Blair's got a really skookum 283. They pulled the heads off of the 283, and it's got pop top pistons in it. It's a gnarly little bastard, and that thing was in the 83 Silverado. It had a 2-barrel intake, a 2-barrel carb, and it was a mileage master. It had ram horn exhaust manifolds on it, and it was a high compression engine. It liked premium fuel, but we're like, it sounds like it had a cam in it, but it took us to pull the heads off to realize it had pop top pistons in it. 350 is better, but you wanted the period correct V8, yeah. Would you ever go back to an inline, another stove bolt, Ari? Or you've gone V8, you can't go back to a stove bolt? With the Nomies. The Nomies. I'm hanging with my Nomies. It's too close to my friend's daughter, Naomi. Oh, the sun's down. Yeah, the V8 definitely works better. Yeah. The old Stovebolt wasn't a bad engine. They made those a long time too. Yeah. I really like the Stovebolt that Scott has, and I think it's a 36 Chevy. That's like a light brown, and man, they had to do a lot to it. They ended up having to do a in-frame rebuild. They actually did a bore job with the Stovebolt still in the engine. They set up everything over top of it. That Strong's Garage, that's friends with Scott. Those guys are awesome. They got such cool old tools. Oh, 230 inline? Nice. It was a 76 full custom Street Freak Dodge van. Waterbed, shagged octagon, steering wheel, etc. That was only 14. Nice. Nice. Man, you're smelling like poontang, and you hardly knew what poontang smelled like. But you knew he smelled like it. Nice. There was a guy that had a Dodge Street van for sale, and it was like an aquamarine blue, and it had a 340 in it, which I don't think street vans ever came 340 powered, but that one had a 340 in it. And it was aquamarine blue, and it had like a surfer hang 10 vibe going on with it. Like you could see where it would have a rack for the board on top of the van, and then everything was kind of luau and waves and surfing and yeah, like hang 10 kind of stuff. And it was actually a presentable truck. It was sitting on chrome slots, and a presentable van, but the people who owned it didn't care about it at all. And the thing, what they partied hard in it. The interior was just murdered in it. And you can see where somebody spilled a bong on the carpet, and cigarette burns, and just your usual, somebody barfed off the side of the waterbed, and yeah, it was gross. Because my friend, a while later, it sat for sale for years, and my friend who wasn't from the area, and we're driving through, and he's like, "How come you didn't buy that Dodge van?" And I'm like, you don't want that van. The interior's roached in it. He goes, I'll be the judge of that. That's a nice van. I go, it is a nice van. Body-wise, it's nice. If you want to put an interior in it, for sure. But the interior's whacked in it. And way I pull up to it, and he gets out and checks it out. And he's looking inside, and he comes back. Man, that thing is, I told you that thing was it. Looks like they fought a war in there. The RV that I tore apart, that one was partied out of, I think someone was living in it, and then they went either A, partying in it, B, living in it, C, all the above. They didn't care about that thing. That thing was trashed inside. Other brother made a living customizing vans. He was moving and asked if I could follow him in the van to the new place. He thought I was 16. You didn't tell him you weren't 16, did you? Like, okay, yeah. I know what I'm doing. Nice. Did he ever find out that you weren't 16 at the time? That's funny. Man, at 14, with that little driving experience under your belt, it probably felt like you were driving a frickin' school bus. I drove a tow truck in the 70s and towed a Divco with a water bed. The thing was extremely heavy. Oh, yeah, Divco. Yes, Detroit Industrial Vehicle Company, Divco. Those were pretty cool. Divcos were pretty cool. They made that same truck forever. Man, they made a lot of them. Grumman made a lot of different ones too. Hey, you could have a lot more friends with you in your Divco versus your boogie van. Yes, hippies. This is my surprise face. Man, I remember some hippies, like hippie guys that were Volkswagen guys. And I remember a particular microbus having like 400,000 miles on it in the 90s. They were just keeping it put together, and they knew their VWs, and yeah, they drove that thing everywhere. It was butter dish yellow and white. It was a bay window one, not the one with the kick out windows. Those are cool. It wasn't one of those. It was the style that had the big window, the bay window. Heck no, I did a great job, A great job, he said. When we pulled into the new place, my sister, my girl, asked, what is Todd doing driving? And that's when he found out he was cool. He said, you did a good job, kid. It's too late now. You didn't wreck it, so, I mean, hey. What is your favorite tea? Green. I like green tea. I drink a lot of green tea. Cold. I don't care for hot beverages. But yeah, I always have a gallon of tea. As a matter of fact, I made a batch just now, and I'll dump it in my pitcher. And yeah, I actually drink a lot of tea. Green. Gypsy on my own. I'll stay a week and catch the crabs and take the bus back home. I'm not placing the song, but it's, I'm a hippie and I'm trippy. I'm a gypsy on my own. I'll stay a week and catch the crabs and take the bus back home. I'm really just a phony. But forgive me, I'm stoned. Is that I Got Stoned and I Missed It by Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show? Because that would run in that vein. No, I've never put a pinch of baking soda in my tea. Green tea's pretty smooth. I'll try it. Okay. I know I don't put anything in my tea. I don't like sweet tea. I just like regular old tea. Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa. I never listened to a lot of Frank Zappa. I remember hearing the tune Mud Sharks, and I knew that Mud Sharks was wrote after Frank Zappa heard about all the stuff that Led Zeppelin was doing at the Hilton Hotel, the Continental Hyatt House, or as they like to call it, the Continental Riot House. They were right next to the ocean, and they were actually like the hotel lobby actually had fishing gear and bait in the lobby, and they encouraged you to fish out the windows of the hotel. So that's what everyone was doing, was fishing, and they did inappropriate things with fish and people. Need baking soda if I'm ever going to drink coffee again. Somebody stole my car radio. Any advice for young folks 20s to 30s? If an opportunity presents itself and it's educational, take it. You can't unlearn something. If it makes you, if it's going to educate you, take it. Also, 20s and 30s, get away from the credit card debt. Credit cards are evil. Pay cash for your stuff. Be the bank. Pay yourself interest, not the bank. Those are two pieces of advice I'd give someone in their 20s or their 30s. Don't buy new vehicles. Absolutely. Fix the old stuff. Yes. A brand new vehicle depreciates 1/3 the second you sign all the paperwork, light it up, and take it off the dealership premises. It's a used vehicle, and it is now used. You could have put 2 miles on it, a mile out, turn around, and come back, and it's now worth 1/3 less because it's a used vehicle. So yeah, let somebody else take a hit on that brand new car. If you want to drive a new vehicle, drive 2-year used. They're refurbished. They usually have low miles, usually like a lease return or whatever. And they still have powertrain warranty and everything like that. And they're much more reasonable in price. And yeah. Yeah, do not ever buy a new vehicle. Also, from a car guy's perspective, don't be the first person on your block to get the new whatever. If it's the first year of whatever it is, don't buy it. Don't be the first people. Don't be guinea pigs. Let them run whatever vehicle. They're going to be making it for a while. So wait until 2 or 3 model years before you pull the trigger on one, because usually all of the beginning program vehicles are plagued with problems because they don't have a lot of the kinks ironed out yet. So don't be the first person on the block to get the brand new whatever. Let everyone else deal with them and then get them like the 3rd model year when they iron all the kinks out. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. Yes, first you don't succeed, destroy all the evidence. Yes, the credit card debt is one of the worst things there are because it compounds. And I don't ever, if you are going to play that game, Dan, I would recommend that you run your gas for the month, and then when your bill comes, pay it off. Pay it to 0. And you'll actually get nasty grams eventually from the credit card company because you're not carrying a balance. My friend was talking about that, and I'm like, you get sent. He goes, yeah, they're gently worded, but basically they want you to carry a balance because that's how they make money. And he goes, I pay it off every time it comes in, and I'm like, really? I don't think so. He brought me in one of the letters to read it for myself, and basically they gently said, we want you to carry a balance so they make more money on you. Hold on, my credit card. Babe tells you she's an artist. Run. My friend was into artsy girls, and one of them, she was big into photography, and she was actually really good at it. She did all sorts of neat stuff. Bethany? I don't remember her name. Yes, I Spider's right. Yeah. When I use mine, I play it better, so I don't have to. Before I do, so I don't have to pay interest. Exactly. Boom! It worked for Norman Down. Boom, baby! Yeah. The try to pay your car insurance every 6 months. There's a lot of fees tied up in monthly payments. I save like paying my car insurance every 6 months cash or lump sum. I save like here in Michigan where car insurance rates are insane. I save like $400 or $500 a year doing it that way. Without the service fee, or no, that's on the policy plus $15 a month service fees on top of that. So I'm saving even more than that. So you can live like a king if you keep the debt low. Yes, I agree. It's only gotten easier as I make better financial decisions, and good for you, Danster. Yeah, it's for sure saving up your money, and it's so much nicer when they're like, saving up the money and being able to just say, how much is that? It's this much. Boom. Done. No finance, no nothing. Just pull out the money, pay for it. That's really nice to have. Don't eat it. I have found Just saying. Isn't that funny how just saying can make everything okay? You could say something absolutely horrible and you're like, why did you just say that? You're like, just saying. Just saying. That's supposed to make everything okay? Oh, he's just saying. Okay, yeah, everyone knows that. Okay. Oh. Do. Oops. What am I doing here? There. Oh man. So what's new in everyone else's world? I've been quite busy here in the Wolverine Garage. Still working on the bathroom, working on the 727 valve body, which turned out marvelous. And then gonna be working on more bike stuff here soon. I want to ride my Valkyrie. It'd be really nice to see Lady Dougster out on her Triumph too. That would make me happy. Ooh, slot bags on truck. Yeah. Yeah. Slot mags look good on everything. My friend was down in Texas and Amarillo, or not Amarillo, El Paso? Anyways, he was down in Texas and he was cruising the junkyards down there just to see how amazing everything is. Amazing. And he found a set of slot mags on an 8-bolt Ford truck. And he was thinking that they were actual magnesium wheels. And I don't think they would make like 3/4 or 1-ton truck wheels out of magnesium. I think magnesium would be reserved just for like the racing stuff, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm opening that question up to you guys who would know more. Did they have magnesium wheels in big heavy application? Or was that usually just race car parts? I think it's just race car parts. Transcontinental penguins? Wow. Well, speaking of transcontinental penguins, did you guys hear about I'm untying my boots, so. Did you guys hear about the penguin that went on vacation? Yeah, he was going to go to Arizona. And so Mr. Penguin takes the time and he flies to Arizona and he rents a big black Lincoln Town Car. And he's out driving and he's got the town car AC going and everything's great. He's going down the expressway and he starts to notice that the town car is starting to run a little hot. So he pulls he sees a service station, so he pulls in and he tells the mechanic what's wrong, and he goes, "You're next in line, I got 2 people ahead of you, I'll get you in as quickly as possible." So there sits Mr. Penguin out in the Arizona sun, and he's in his little tuxedo, and he is starting to sweat. And then he sees across the street, there's an ice cream shop. So he's like, "I'll get some ice cream." So he goes over there, and he gets a big, tall vanilla cone. Well, you know, Mr. Penguin's got these little itty-bitty arms, and he's trying to hold on to this big old cone, and he's trying to eat it the best he can, and he's getting more on him than he is in him. And around that same time, he notices that across the street at the shop, the Lincoln's got taken off the hoist, so he quick runs over there. He didn't even clean his face. And the the mechanic comes up wiping off his hands. He goes, well, it looks like you blew a seal. And the penguin says, no, it's not. It's vanilla ice cream. Ba-da-ta. Boo! Magnesium koalas. Magnesium alcoas. Yeah, that's an old joke. Oh. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, sparklers, the little sparkler sticks that you had in when we were all kids, running around at the 4th of July with a sparkler stick, that's magnesium. That's burning. Yeah, mag wheels comes from magnesium. Yeah. Volkswagen engine cases are made of magnesium also. That I don't know about the magnesium wheels. I know that in racing applications, like if you need to be lighter than aluminum, magnesium. I remember years ago, my friend was doing a big cube build on a hot Volkswagen, and he ended up having to take his case halves to a special machine shop, ones that could machine the magnesium without catching it on fire. Magnesium torque thrusts. Yeah, they probably made them. I'm sure they probably made them. The cast Alcoa wheels in Australia. I wonder how many koalas. That's a Class D fire. There are Class D fire extinguishers. Yes, the magnesium fire extinguisher, I think that Buff is talking about, is something that attacks the oxygen in the fire. That's how it's to put it out. Because at a magnesium fire, my friend was a volunteer for his local fire department, and we were talking about magnesium fires. Because I remember guys coming out with a magnesium half a Volkswagen block and throw it on the fire just to watch the sparkles. And I heard horror stories about hitting it with water. He pulled up YouTube video of a fire department. There was they purposely set a magnesium fire inside the interior of a car, and the fire guys are going in with the hose and they're spraying that burning magnesium, and oh my God, things went crazy. So yeah, don't throw any water on a magnesium fire. There was a guy on Jay Leno's Garage. Then they made this one special Bugatti in way back in the day, like 100 years ago, and they only made one, and it was a magnesium bodied car. And then it was this really sleek looking coupe, but they only made one. They took a few pictures of it, and then it was lost to history. So what the guy did was he got all the pictures he could, and luckily for him, the hood ornament that they used was the same as other ones. So they were able to obtain a hood ornament, and they were able to measure the hood ornament, and then they were able to map out the car, knowing that, up close, the hood ornament radiator cap thing is, this by this by this, so we know that that's this much. So they mapped out the car using that as a template, or as a unit of measure. And they mapped out the whole car, and then they built the car. And the guy said that he had all of his materials were 3 foot by 3 foot magnesium sheet. And he had to weld it together, and he had to form it and cut it and all that other stuff to make this car body. I'm like, wow, that was cool. And of course, the work was exquisite. These were craftsmen. I just want to see some of that magnesium sheet metal work happening, because you've got to be like extra careful and stuff. Be interesting. I've never seen that and stuff. Hildebrand wheels were magnesium. Daisy mags would be great on the Apache, just to bother folks. Yeah, Daisy mags are pretty cool. Semi-monopropellant. It must react with the oxygen in the water. It does. It just flares up. It's scary. Yeah, you want to make the fire worse? Pour water on it. Yeah, the old Hilborn rims and intakes were magnesium. I think the NHRE banned them back in the 60s or early 70s. Sexarosa. Hi, Blazy. And a car lover? Well, you're in the right place. Magnesium was exactly what stopped Mercedes-Benz racing. Now to be lighter, they use titanium. Now to be lighter, they use carbon fiber. Crap, there's that one company that offers a second generation charger body in carbon fiber. Man, could you imagine a Skookum big block in that thing? My God. Titanium's hard stuff. Hard stuff. Okay, let me see. We're going on 3 hours. So I think that I'm going to call it for the night. So let's make like a Beach Boys song and let's get together and do it again. Shall we? Same Dougster time, same Dougster channel. See you next week. Bye.